Well, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon for me. I'm on night shift. I want to do this live for MJ Phillips. He answered one of my posts and he put an interesting comment and he brought up the Clarity Act. And for those who don't know, it was a Supreme Court of Canada decision regarding amending anything in the constitutional acts of Canada, or also, folks, including provinces getting out of historical agreements they've made with the federal government, saying that now that you've agreed as a province to these terms of the federal government, in order for you to get out of it, you're going to have to get all the other provinces to agree. So you were bound into something with just a vote of the Premier, stamped by the Lieutenant Governor, and then now the federal government says, in order for you to rescind that or make a change, you're going to have to get every other province to agree with you in major majority. We all know that by the federal government purchasing the vote of smaller provinces, you will never, and I repeat, never achieve a majority, a 7 out of 10. And in fact, I hate to say it for the territories, they're literally drawn and executively made federally as they see fit. And that is how they chop them up. This is done exactly onto the Indian Act as well, too, basically forcing all First Peoples forever to obey the federal government's ruling. They've removed the First People entirely from any of the provincial division of powers. If you look at those division of powers, they're extreme, they're huge. It explains everything from lack of clean drinking water to absolute horrific medical conditions, the ability to get just health care. These are huge international law violations on humanity's side when we talk about human rights and all the way through. I want people to understand that things like the Clarity Act, and it's only one radically designed piece of legislation made via the Supreme Court of Canada. Folks, the Supreme Court of Canada is not, and I repeat, not an independent judiciary. The entire justice system, just like World War II's Nazi Germany, is entirely bound, defined, and administered by the federal government in power and the official opposition. At least all those who hold the title on the Dark Crown power side of Privy Council. Oh yes, they're all one and the same, work together for the benefit of solely the first-class divine politicians who've got crown titles for the rest of their life and tremendous amount of monies paid by you, the taxpayer. Over and above retirement packages, these are checks made from the consolidated funds, both federally and provincially. They get that money to keep their lips zipped and keep working within that side of the system. Now, people, there was a Ruth Ginsburg. She's a late U.S. Supreme Court justice, a real independent judiciary. And in fact, like all history of the United States Supreme Court of the United States, all justices, when they can't find an answer to a solution in domestic law, meaning when they go through the United States Constitution, they can't find anything in there to address the concern that they need to deal with and they need to make a decision, they go to international binding law, world binding law. This was done by Ruth Ginsburg many times, and she led justices for many decades on that principle. She was born throughout World War II. She came from a country that had to deal with the UNSC, and in fact, the UNSC rewriting their country, their constitution, lit her up as a child. It's an incredible journey that woman went on. People can be angry. Oh, she seems to be radically left. Oh, she went radically right. What's with this woman? She went with international binding law by the allies of World War II, meaning whatever the U.S. wouldn't address in their federal constitution, she would find it in international legal binding law, meaning bound to the treaties by the United States of America and the rest of the world. Get it? The Clarity Act, which isn't the only one, but we're going to focus on that, doesn't model after anything in international law. Not even close. Who would craft the Clarity Act, making it impossible for any province to undo anything it's done and bound with the federal government? You can walk into something with just the premier and the lieutenant governor stamping it off, no problem. But to get out, you need to go through a list of impossible tasks and feats. No, it was crafted absolutely by the federal executive, ordered through the Governor General of Canada on the Supreme Court. Why is that? Because all of our Supreme Court justices are appointed by the Governor General. Who's the Governor General bound and sworn to? The Prime Minister. The Clarity Act is just one of many, many times the Supreme Court has come up with unconstitutional, made constitutional legal laws that are not found in any constitution, are cockamamie, are completely abstract from anything in the world we could find. Very authoritarian, very written by a singular person who had an agenda to make sure it would be impossible to undo anything. And again, all these decisions, like the Clarity Act by the Supreme Court of Canada, is not matched anywhere except for other historical constitutional monarchies all through the Age of Empires. You won't find any countries post-1945 coming up with these kinds of decisions. Why? Because they're not fused with the executive branch of government, meaning it's not the federal government in charge of the court. It's an independent judiciary. Nazi Germany. Folks, the Chancellor Adolf Hitler had the Supreme Court of Germany write and mandate to arrest all opposition political parties who opposed what he wanted to do with the Jews. He had them all arrested. He had the Supreme Court and all the courts issue out arrest warrants. Had them all arrested. Think about that. That's what he did with consent from the president, because their constitution was written exactly the same as Canada's, whose is much older at the time. We can go on many, many broken, sick, perverted constitutional monarchies where this very thing happened. If you ever want to see a clear, close example, South Africa, all the way up to 1993, apartheid South Africa. And people talk about, oh, they've ruined South Africa. No, South Africa was a disease shit pit long before anything we see today. Why are these people running towards communist values and ideals? Because they were badly abused, horrifically, like the First Peoples of Canada. And I'm educating. My next stop is now going to be the Wet'suwet'en. I'm going to take that. Some people are worried about some of the other orgs attached to that. No need to worry. I know all the corruption. But I'm going to tell you, Colombia, I didn't get what I wanted from Colombia, but guess what I got in my morning email from Colombia, the UN representative of Colombia? I got Spirit. Anyone who's never seen that, check it out. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty cool. it's been lost in time, and maybe I can reactivate that. It's pretty impressive. It gives us a chance to move forward. It gives me a chance to make a stage with a lot of NGOs. And it's incredible. For the more I go through, the more abuse I get in Canada, the more resistance, especially from the judiciary. And we got lots of people fighting what we're doing. And I do Twitter spaces. People are seeing that. The lawyers don't like it. Of course they don't. They're in a preferred system. But folks, many more than just the Clarity Act or cockamamie, not found or bound in any international law. In fact, international law is quite the opposite. When I say international law, bound by all 5 allies of World War II and on the entire world. And Canada says, no, fuck you, we're not going to do it. We're like Nazi Germany. We don't follow international law. We definitely don't respect human rights. We will destroy anyone we deem a subject or savage, especially the savages, to be genocided. No one could change South Africa. Nobody could until the Allies went in and changed it. Now, I believe that through the party of the Canadian Constitutionalists, we can do what Adolf Hitler did. But instead of doing the dark power and liquidating people, we can free everybody. We can destroy the crown. That's our platform. And you're going to see every single one of the crown-powered positions, constitutionally bound positions, written forever a day in the Constitutional Acts of Canada. We're going to get those. We're going to highlight those. We're going to showcase real Canadians in those positions for the first time ever in Canadian history. We're going to show those positions. We're going to show you the individuals. We're going to swear their oath to you, the people. And through their positions, we're going to turn the system upside down. Yes, it means completely rewriting the justice system entirely, start to finish. Who's going to do that? You, the people. All the people, all Canadians, all First Peoples in every town hall, community, and reserve across Canada. We're going to do that with the greatest legal minds in the world. If people don't believe it, go on my Twitter. You're seeing incredible people I've collected from all over the world in many different countries, languages, cultures, skin colors, you name it, religions, it's there, and they're all doing amazing things. One right now is destroying the constitutional monarchy, the crown of Jamaica. Barbados will be up next. Brazil's attempting it. I think after they see what Jamaica does and the success rate, they're going to follow suit too. And then it's us. How long do we wait? How long do we let a divine set of politicians do this to us? We have to make a change, folks. That's our platform. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to highlight things that nobody else wants to highlight. There's more. There's so much more I could go through. Getting your identity validated. If you lose all your ID and you have nothing to prove your identity, you don't go to kin. In the United States, all you have to do is get your parents or your next of kin to come with you and verify your identity to get your ID replaced. In Canada, you have to go through a first-class person, an elected government official, a doctor, or a lawyer, just to name a few. There's Justice of the Peace, there's others, but this is what Canada does to us, the subjects and savages. We're not people. We're not people. And if you want to change that, you have to accept that we're no different than any other constitutional monarchy in the history of the world. And it's a dark crown power that has to be harnessed by you, the people, legally in an election cycle. We have to showcase that. We have to swear and bind those people to you, the people. You're taking the castle down from the inside. We win the crown, we immediately destroy the crown. Power to the people, all the people. Constitutional conventions, 6 to 9 months by you, the people, in every one of the 215 languages available in Canada. I'm nearly there. We have all the people in place. I've been working on this for 5 years. It's all over the world. You wouldn't have the best doctorates of law from almost every country in the world, at least more than 3/4 of them, following me, sharing with me, presenting with me on world stage events. And if you haven't watched Richard Albert right now in Jamaica, he's doing it. We can do this. We have presented for the provinces. We've shown you how to do that. Again, the dark power takes hold, from Danielle Smith to Scott Moe to so many, many more. None of them want you, the people, empowered. They don't want you to have sovereignty. They don't want you to be sovereign citizens. They don't want the country sovereign. They want it to be their country, theirs alone. You're either a subject, which is a slave to them. Think about it. Taxation without representation. Eternal funding and financing by any mode, means necessary, meaning borrowing against you and your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren of tomorrow. What kind of system says, you know what, I think it's a good idea that if we can't pay for it today, we'll make the children yet to come pay for it tomorrow. So they're born with more and more and more debt. So much debt, it's obscene. Right now, today, every child born in Canada or every child immigrated to Canada inherits $123,000. That number is going to grow. It's probably going to double by the time we elect the next government. They double down. It's exponential. The taxes, exponential. We're all feeling it. We're all feeling it. What's going to happen when oil prices shoot up in our current regime of carbon taxes? You're going to see $2 a liter for gas very shortly. You're going to see $3 a liter diesel very shortly. This isn't mythical fake. I think everybody's watching the pump prices go up when the oil hasn't shot up. It's at relatively low levels. What's going to happen when we see the next $100 a barrel wave of oil? It's coming. When do the people say enough? Now, we can fight, we can have a physical revolution like France did, like USA did in the War of Independence, but folks, violence, no one's ready, we're definitely not pushed down. We gotta literally be starving, eating potatoes out of the ground, watching our children freeze to death before we can see, and dying of disease, before we can see the masses move against the tyrannical regime crown. We have to do this from the inside out. At least give the platform, at least run what's going to be the 343. It's going to go from 338 very shortly to 343. But we're going to have to do the 343, and we're going to have to show all Canadians on a political platform. You do get a stage of media, regardless of what people think. You do get all that. If you make your 343, you will get the stage. They will give it, they will showcase it. Will they treat us fair? No, they won't. Will they sequester a lot? Sure they will. Will we have the entire justice system, all the professionals who are attached to Crown, come at us full swing, all political parties? You know we will. But we have to do this. We have to teach people the truth of the Crown in all its evil, historical evil that's matched in many, many countries before us. Many have been changed, and still a great many have not. I want to be in the country of change. I want to be in the country of we the people power. There's a tremendous amount of wealth and land out there, still yet to be made available to the people of Canada. All people, all Canadians, all First People. Tremendous amount of land and resources. Don't let them rape and rob you. Thanks, that's my video. Guys, have a good day. Share, share, share. Get it out there. Bye now.